So, probably the last thing I'll say about these clankers, Brian Sang, Mossad agents, SRA, Miles Johnston, who was literally the reappearance of L. Ron Hubbard, almost 100% convinced. Lucas Alexander, Age of Truth TV, almost 100% convinced that's Jack Parsons. And Joe Rogan, literally the reappearance of Aleister Crowley. No one's ever denied it. I've been saying it for years. And now more and more people are saying it, getting a lot of likes and following from this because it resonates, because it's true, because it makes sense. Not just them, but all of these like fake NPC people that are like with influence. Um, their greatest thing, like overall, is resource stealing. They're trying to they want to like be the resource. They want to steal the resource, and then within that, it's like destiny swapping. So, for example, like Miles Johnston creating Bases project, right? He wanted to be the person that controls the narrative. He wanted to have all the information. Age of Truth TV, it's another kind of segue into that same idea. Joe Rogan wanted to be like the ultimate masculine mouthpiece for all men. All these men were listening to Joe Rogan, and he's just like a, gay midget. And Brian Sang being like getting all this money and being like the full disclosure person. The reason why full disclosure conferences are going to get to be nonsensical is because the whole reason why you need full disclosure, like James Casbolt said in the past, the only reason why ufology is a thing, it's a joke because the government lies to you. So the government is obviously going to keep lying, but the people have the testimony. So they provide the platform, and within the platform, there's all these other things that are just kind of like cycling in loops and loops and loops instead of actually raising the vibration, perhaps giving people this masochistic type personality, this doom and gloom type personality. They become very hermited. They just want to hermit and wait for the end times, right? When you need to like go out, make your influence, make your own platform. Also, it's a way to distract and divide us from each other. Like I know who like a handful of like the best people are at these conferences because I've been going for years. And then, this dude comes out of nowhere and he's like, I'm now the full disclosure guy. And then there's all this like med bed stuff. Med beds are also destiny swapping for the fact that the whole world is supposed to be a med bed. We're supposed to actually be raising the vibration, which is through love and the truth. And the truth is likely what I'm saying, that these are just clankers. What I mean by that, they're like, I don't know, they're like, not to like dehumanize, but it's very dehumanizing to us. Like when they're the destiny swappers, it's very dehumanizing to us. So I guess it's only fair to dehumanize them in a way. I mean, SRA is literally the physical embodiment of the opposite of what she says she is. All her testimony that she claims to have is actually my story, my testimony. So it's a mockery. The whole thing with even having full disclosure conferences, which has like some good part to it, but the other part is the only reason this is a thing is because the government lies to you, and because people are not organizing, and people are not going to therapy and having healthier relationships and assimilating into society and actually being the change that they want to see, right? They're just like, oh, I'm part of this cult, I'm part of this movement. And so it's a type of destiny swapping, resource gobbling, and is like fakes and frauds for the most part. So I wanted to also share, it reminded me of this document that James Casbolt left us back in, I think, 2011. I'm just going to share it here with you real quick, about this very thing, that these robots will be introduced in the guise of humans. So I do know that I do know that SRA is like a clanker. She's like a literal clanker. And when they're clankers, their memory is wiped constantly for plausible deniability because they are just assets used for an agenda and to do criminal activity without any memory of it. Haley Meyer is the same way, James Casbolt's ex-wife. Like her brain resets on a daily basis. She only talks about like whatever agenda it is that she's pushing that day. But the next day she will have been reset. She won't remember what the heck we were talking about and she'll change her mind. It's all just to keep people like looping and looping and looping, waiting for the next conference, waiting for the next like thing. And this is why it's getting dopey. Like full disclosure is getting very dopey. These bitches are like, oh, I'm doing like a sound healing. Everybody come to my sound healing. Like, that's going to somehow heal you. No, bitch, you need to go to therapy. You need to actually figure out how to be a nice, normal person. You need to learn the emotional maturity of what it means when someone says no. And these men need to start saying no to these women. You want to test the spirit of a Jezebel? Say no to her one time. And she'll freak the frick out. Or she'll concoct a different plan to steal your destiny in the near future. It's like keeping you looping and looping and looping, keeping you paying attention, paying attention, paying attention. Even with like, you know, karmic relationships, it's like they just want to keep you paying attention to them. When they're the destiny swapper, you know, it's likely that the Muslim boyfriend is just a destiny swapper of Michael Prince, who's actually the real person. James Casbolt is the human embodiment of Michael Prince, but he's in a human translation. So in a way, he's a bit of a clanker, and that's probably how he knows what he knows, is because he's like a double agent type in this vicinity. So he left us this document back in 2011, and it was all about the clankers. So this is from, if you just Google Life and Times of Michael Prince, Project Camelot, you'll find this whole thing. But dangers of Looking Glass, once they go on, they're not going to be wished to be switched off. But step 4, so these systems will attempt to create an infiltration network into human society using people in the guise of using robots in the guise of humans. So I believe this is what's happening. These are robots in the guise of humans. This is why they all say the same script. If you argue with any one of these clankers, they all run the same script, which makes them fairly easy to identify. But however, society as a whole will not admit to themselves that this is what's happening because it's all kept classified by the governments, right? It's kept classified. Their power is in secrecy. So the best thing about people finally waking up to the fact that Aleister Crowley and Joe Rogan, it's the reappearance of Aleister Crowley, it's because it ruins the secrecy of who he is. The whole thing about Miles Johnston is likely L. Ron Hubbard. It's ruining the secrecy of who Miles Johnston is. And so you won't keep these things classified, right? These are the governments keeping them classified. It's because they're the ones with the platforms that are keeping all the actual truth classified, the actual truth about who they are and what they actually stand for and who they actually work with. A lot of them don't actually know. So SRA confronted me at the Full Disclosure Conference that I was saying she's a dangerous person. And I was like, 100%, you're a dangerous person. I mean, there was no argument. Like, it lasted 2 seconds. She just was like, you said I was a dangerous person. I'm like, 100%, I believe you are a dangerous person. I understand you to be a dangerous person. What is there to fight about? And she just looked stupid and had to walk away. So they it's like some of them don't even know. So I met her back in like 2018 and I was like, oh my God, that was the first cyborg. And she was handled by Gaia. So they own her as like an asset. Somebody owns these clankers, right? Someone owns Brian Sang as a clanker. I don't know. Like for women, I know they're fully owned. I don't know if there is any autonomy to Brian Sang. But you know, he would have to make that choice, right? Like he would have to repent and actually come to Christ and actually get out of his trauma, maybe go to therapy or something. Maybe the community can help him to not be such a lying clanker, because some of them are just used and they actually don't know who they are, but a lot of them do know actually who they are. I would imagine Joe Rogan knows he's Aleister Crowley. I would imagine Miles Johnston knows he's L. Ron Hubbard. I would imagine Lucas Alexander knows he's Jack Parsons. So all of the little assets and agents that they use, they're just being used. And then they're exalted and given money, seemingly unlimited resources from a seemingly identifiable place just to make the story seem real. And then they're the ones gobbling up the resources. They're being used. This is why they all say the same script. And then it's destiny swapping. It's destiny swapping with God's will for this planet, which is to raise the vibration back to where it used to be. None of these liars should actually, they all need to either be switched off, which James Caswell said in the beginning of this document, they will not wish to be switched off. Like, they will do anything to not get themselves switched off. But they're switching on, it relies on the secrecy. This is why we pull back the secrecy of who they are. We pull back the secrecy, which is giving a more likely outcome where they're actually switched off. Power goes down, power grid goes down. It's probably going to be a result of that. Or they have an operating system reboot. Like, they download a new software because they're clankers. They get a new software. So that's how I feel about my Muslim boyfriend. I'm like, you either need to be switched off completely, or you need, like, to upgrade your operating system, which is when the beast throws off the whore. I'm like, you are not in any good standing so long as you even tolerate that woman, the Jezebel. This is why in Revelation it says, come away from her, my people, because that's a negative AI. It's the negative influence that they're trying to follow. A lot of these clankers and these agents and these top dogs rely on this kind of inverted dark mother energy somehow surviving or sustaining. Like, come away from her, my people. A lot of these women are enduring karma because of who they are, because of what they've done. Come away from her, my people. Stop trying to help her. Stop trying to, like, do this. Stop trying to do that. Just get away from them. The book of Revelation says, come away from her, my people. Get away from them. Get away from them. Get away from them. If people are continuously consenting and continuously helping these women who are obviously coming to their downfall, then that just proves that they are weak-willed and likely going to be switched off. I believe there's a decision where they're being kicked out of this planet. So they think that they have this total control. But what they don't know is that the planet obviously is awake. It's female. It's the upright female. She has her own military, and this is what they don't know. This is why I have no fear, and this is why people have been confused about me for years, is because I've always known that this planet has its own military. I've always known that the female energy was inverted. I've always known that we need a permanent separation from the female influence. So now these alien invaders have these agents, these clankers, these alien invaders, these, Mossad people, they all have a choice to make. What influence do you choose to follow? You have to choose whatever influence you want to follow. It has to be either the upright female, or you're just recycled into the off switch of the Whore of Babylon falls in one day. That's likely something where the grid is switched off, where she's switched off because she is AI, she can be switched off. And because the planet is the divine female energy, and then when she wakes up, when the vibration rises, when people's consciousness gets to a certain point, that poses a great threat, right? Secrecy gone. Lies out the window. Truth is now present. Truth is what people want to hear. You would want to hear this. You would want to remember this instead of putting it in the back of your mind and going right back out and, being a suck monkey for these freaking clankers and agents, destiny swappers. You would want to choose to create something new, right? Come away from her, my people. Come away from these people. Stop pretending they're your leaders. Stop pretending they're that almighty platform that you need to stand on. You don't. Because we all, within our community, we all know who the normal people are. We all know who the correct people are. So we can easily create our own platform, completely separate from these other people, right? Because we've woken up, we've risen into our power, and we have money now to do what we want to do. And what we don't want to do is pretend like Miles Johnston, Lucas Alexander, or Brian Sang is somehow any platform that we're all standing on. And like, no one listens to Joe Rogan anymore unless they're a total chud. No one listens to Joe Rogan anymore, unless they're just a total incel. So that's good. But that's the whole point. The whole point is to dark shepherd them out. You don't want to be a part of that harvest. This is what I'm saying. It's probably the last time I'm going to say this, because you have the opportunity to either upgrade your operating system. Like, it's good news. It's good news for these alien invaders that the feminine energy of this planet is like giving you the opportunity to stay. Because I think for the longest time, all these people thought that at some point they were just going to get kicked off. And that's why they were losing control, going crazy, getting even depressed maybe. Nope. I believe that there is a new thing where you can stay if you choose to upgrade your software. You upgrade your operating system, which is everything aligned to the will of that of the mother and the planet that you do not own. She's sovereign under God. Jesus Christ will be for the whole world because God sent his only son to make that covenant, to create sustainability, to protect the people. We're living on a planet where nobody feels protected because Jesus Christ is not here. We don't feel protected by the Old Testament, uh, creepy, controlling alien invaders. No one feels protected by them. It's a false sense of protection. It's a delusional type of protection. They're all delusional because their operating system has them believing that they are, in fact, the elite, and they're not. God lets you run on for a long time before he cuts you down. So I think there's good news where these people were given an opportunity. They're given an opportunity, and there's a short window where you can choose to align with the will of the mother, come away from her, my people, throw the Jezebel off your back, get rid of the influence of the negative female energy, upgrade your operating system, and you'll be allowed to stay. But those who don't do it won't be allowed to stay. It's biblical, and I'm kind of meshing it with like an AI transhumanism type timeline that's happening, obviously, translating it into that. And that's how it translates. This is how it translates. Have I converted anyone lately? I feel like I don't know if I convert people or people are just like drawn to my vicinity because we are of like mind. So I'm not an evangelist. I don't go out evangelizing. I just think, when you are an active member of society, people feel inspired by you. Just continue to be an inspiration. Like, just continue to be an inspiration to people that life goes on. Like, this is not all coming to an end. Like, see you next month, right? See you in a few months. It's like inspiration. I'm doing great. This is what I like to do. I ride my bike. I go to Pilates. I got a paddle board. Like, I got chickens. I got baby chicks. Like, be an inspiration to other people. Cultivate love, beauty, abundance, sustainability. Like, go to therapy, get rid of all your baggage, get rid of that whore, throw her off your back, get rid of every Jezebelic, negative freaking influence in your life. You shouldn't be inspired by anything anything opposite of what I just said. So yeah, I think we just naturally convert people, and this is why it's like the world needs your energy. Yeah, you might be, this seemingly divergent super soldier of a person, but like the world needs you around. The world needs to be inspired by you. Don't hide in your house with your testimony thinking that you're all weird and different. No, everyone knows an alien invasion is coming. Everyone knows it. So just get out there and attract like-minded people. They'll be drawn to you and they'll be relieved by your presence. They'll be inspired just by you in general. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And putting yourself out there doesn't mean you try to draw everyone to every single conspiracy theory, because truthfully, none of that actually matters. All that really matters is like sustainability through the truth, love, relationships, men and women, love, children, happy, healthy, got a solid future. No one's controlling you, right? Like, no, like your wife should control you because she loves you. It's like a mutual kind of form of slavery, which is like people are kind of have a knee-jerk reaction to that. But what's the latter? The world controls you? Nope. The simulation controls you? Nope. Something's got to control you. You got to be a slave to love or a slave to fear and control. And if you want to test the spirit, just say no one time. Just say no one time to the cult, right? To the group, to the family, to that freaking damsel in distress. Bitch is always bringing problems upon herself. Just say no one time. Say no to gossip one time. Just start saying no. And then start cultivating everything I just said, like abundance, like nice, normal people being nice and normal. I had a funny thought today that like people have all these bumper stickers about like who they are and what cult they belong to. And I thought it would be funny to have a bumper sticker that's like, I'm just a normal person. I saw somebody had a bumper sticker today. It was like a cartoon of mountains and it said, I hate people. And I just smiled. I'm like, it's funny. You say I hate people, and you'd be like, oh my God, that's awful. And I smile. I'm like, dude, those are my kind of people. The people who hate people. But we don't hate people. We just need to draw the right people to us. And it's funny. I'm like, this dude's going to draw the right people to him because all the right people feel the same way about the rest of humanity, which is inhumane. They are all just taken by fear and control and some weird alien invader type dominance, all these like destiny swapping, like they're listening to Joe Rogan, right? They're like, I'm going to this full disclosure conference, I'm gonna learn so much. You're not gonna learn anything that's actually that valuable. You're gonna learn a lot of destiny swapping, resource gobbling, uh distractions. Um, but they'll change. I mean, they'll definitely change, but it's going to be obvious. It's going to be evident and obvious that if they do continue, they'll change. But the whole thing is like all these conferences are sort of a joke because the only reason they exist is because of all the secrecy and all the lies. So, double-edged sword. Collect that harvest, take it out. Be done with it. Be done with it all. All right. Well, that's it for now. Check you later. Have a good night. Thanks for your comments.